Hi everyone, today I wanted to go through a couple of stretches for the shoulder using a looped resistance band. So these are really good stretches for opening up through the shoulders if you're experiencing tightness through the shoulders, especially if you're doing things like overhead movements in the gym. If you're noticing tight shoulders and you struggle to get into a really good overhead position, these two stretches will just help you get into a lot better overhead position, help to open up those shoulders and just traction out the shoulders a bit to give them more space. So we're using a looped resistance band. You are going to need a pull-up bar or a squat rack or something similar where you can loop the band over. So what we're going to be doing is looping the band through. So we're throwing it over the squat rack or the pull-up bar, we're looping it through itself and then pulling it tight. So the first stretch, what we're going to be doing is we're putting our hand through the band and then we're turning our arm around and grabbing a hold of that band and bringing our arm up overhead. So with this one, it's important not to pull the band. Once that band's around the arm, you can just hold that arm up overhead and then release your grip a bit so you're not pulling on the band. And what we're going to be doing is just walking out until we start to feel, so we're keeping our arms straight and we're walking out until we start to feel a stretch through the shoulder. So depending on where you are tight or what is impacting your overhead movement, you'll feel the stretch differently. I tend to feel it through the lats here, but sometimes you can feel it through the front of the shoulders there. So you're just walking out, putting some tension on that. If you don't feel the tension, just walk out a bit more. Don't pull on the band, okay? So this is a passive stretch, and so we're getting the band to do the work rather than using our muscles to do the work. So we're just holding that for about 30 seconds, and you can do both sides. So the next stretch we're doing is a similar stretch, but we're going the opposite way. So again, we're going to go through the band, so hand through the band, and then we're grabbing hold of the band. Now again, we don't want to be pulling on the band, so turning your arm around and looping your arm through that band helps to grab onto the arm, and you don't have to pull the band. So this time we're facing the rack or the band, and again, this is a passive stretch, so we're walking back until we start to feel a bit of a pull through that shoulder. So the band is going to be pulling our shoulder. Now with this stretch, I like to bring the same leg back. So whatever arm is in the band, I bring that leg back into a lunge type position. So that way we're getting a stretch right through that body. And then we're going to walk back a little bit until we feel the band pulling our shoulder away or our arm away from our body. Okay, so again, this is a passive stretch. So we don't want to be pulling on that band. We want to be letting the band do the work. And once we're in that stretch, we can use our hand position to dictate where we feel the stretch. So as you externally rotate that arm, you might feel the stretch more through the lats here. As you internally rotate, you probably feel it more on the inside of the shoulders or the front of the shoulders. So depending on where you are tight, you can play around with that hand position to dictate where you feel that stretch. So for me, I feel the stretch more as I externally rotate the shoulders. So I externally rotate my shoulder, hold this for about 30 to 40 seconds. Once I've done that, then I can start to add in that dynamic movement. So rotating the shoulder in and out, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and it becomes more of a dynamic type stretch. So we're tractioning that shoulder while we're working through that internal and external rotation. Okay, so there's some really good stretches to help just free up the shoulders. If you're struggling with any overhead type movements, they can be really good to help get you into a better overhead position without using that, compensating through that thoracic spine. So try those stretches out, see if you can improve your overhead position using those two stretches. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I'll see you on the next one.